and welcome to my presentation. I'm going to be discussing how food trends in Western countries are causing malnutrition in developing countries. This occurs when demand for a certain crop drastically increases in a wealthy, more developed country. So the crop is mass exported from poorer countries to supply the increased demand. This process results in a severe shortage of the local population's staple diet, because their harvest is exported out of the country instead of supplying their own needs. So the country's food security is reduced and malnutrition occurs. An example of this process is the quinoa superfood fad, which is causing starvation in Bolivia. Quinoa is hailed as a superfood and approved by dietitians throughout the Western world. This has resulted in a drastic increase in the demand for this commodity and a huge new export market to be generated. Also, NASA has declared quinoa as the perfect food for astronauts undertaking extended space flights. Bolivia is located in South America and is famous for its capital city La Paz, its salt flats where sky meets earth, its dangerous mountain roads and abundance of national parks. Quinoa was once the nourishing staple diet of Bolivia's native population. However, this crop is now mass exported away from Bolivia, and in recent years it has become one of the fastest growing commodities in world trade. The quinoa trade is a very large financial business, and in 2012 its total exports amounted to $131 million, and Bolivia is the main supplier for this business. So Bolivians are no longer able to afford their national food, as the demand for the crop has soared in wealthy countries due to its superfood status, which has caused its price to drastically increase, ultimately resulting in malnutrition and a reduced food security in Bolivia. The price of quinoa has tripled since 2006 and it now costs more than a chicken. So it has changed from being a staple to a luxury. Malnutrition affects the weakest and most vulnerable first. So children in the quinoa growing south of Bolivia are among those showing these chronic malnutrition symptoms. The extent of malnutrition around the world is extremely severe, as over 795 million people do not have enough food to lead a healthy, active life. This figure equates to 1 in 9 people on Earth. Some of the most disturbing facts are related to children. For example, poor nutrition causes 45% of deaths in children under 5, which equates to 3.1 million children each year. Improving nutrition and health play a central role in achieving overall sustainability around the world, as 12 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals created by the United Nations contain indicators that are highly relevant to nutrition. Humanitarian organisations are implementing a variety of strategies to reduce malnutrition and its associated problems. For example, ACF International, as part of their Action Against Hunger integrated approach, have implemented ready-to-use therapeutic foods, which consist of peanut butter-based pastes and biscuits, which are nutrient-rich and contain high concentrations of protein and energy. An alternative method is the use of genetically modified crops, which use biofortification to enhance the nutritional value of plants through genetic engineering or conventional selective breeding. However, there are various ethical issues related to these practices. Also, simple changes can be made by people who are fortunate enough to live in wealthy countries, such as swapping to quinoa alternatives. But essentially the problem could be resolved by strengthening our own food security and lessening our reliance on imported foods. Thank you for listening to my presentation.